LikeOneCarKeys.com. We're working on a 2016 Toyota Highlander. The customer has one original working transponder smart key, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a Lonsdor key or the Lonsdor universal key, generate the correct board. We're going to use the Lonsdor KH100 Plus to generate the board as the same board as the original key. We will put it in a matching case, cut the blade, and then use the Autel KM100 to complete the programming. So I cracked open the original key to see what board number this was. So this is a 2110. It might be a little bit hard to see there, but yeah, it's not going to focus for us. But I got the board number from the original key, so I'll go ahead and move on to the KH100 and generate the universal board. All right, the first thing that we need to do was put a good quality battery in the universal keyboard. So I just put a brand new Duracell battery in it. I verified it was at 3.14 volts. This is a 3-volt battery, so that's completely full. And now we can move on to generating it with the KM100. So in the KM100, what we want to do is we want to navigate down to special functions, hit OK, and then we're going to do a LT smart key convert, hit OK, and then it's going to tell us to get the version button and everything. So we actually want to put our key in there, select, and it's reading. All right. So this just gives us the basic information on what we have here. All right, so we got version info. I mean, we didn't really need that information. So we want to go down to convert smart key type. All right, we're going to go ahead and select it. We're going to generate it as an 8A. All right, it tells us to put it in the pickup slot. I'm going to hit execute. All right, and then this is where we select what board we have. And yeah, so there's 31 different boards, and we have that 2110. All right, and we know our frequency is 314. So this is a 4-button with panic. And let me see. So button 3 is for the trunk, and button 4 is for the panic. That's what we have on our original key. All right. Now, on some vehicles, you see how it says 3 is trunk, 4 is panic, and then down here 3 is hatch and 4 is panic. So if the trunk functions they seem weird or they're not operating correctly, because this is an SUV, you might want to try that hatch option, but I'm going to go ahead and generate it as 3 trunk, 4 panic. Go ahead, select OK. And then we have I'm going to go ahead and, there's a couple of different 315/314 frequencies. I'm going to try this 315 first. And then it's just going to go ahead and update this, generate it as the proper board with the proper frequency, and we should be able to go ahead and put this key in the case and move on to programming. All right, so this whole process probably took about 25 seconds to generate. All right. Now it's doing some type of update, maybe a firmware update for the key itself. All right, I'll just cut back in when this is completed. All right, so that update took about 2 minutes to go through. We are finishing up now. All right, it was just doing some type of calculation. Not sure what that's for, but like I said, these keys, you got to be online to do generation. So make sure you have good solid internet connection. I'm using my phone's hotspot. It is working, and we're complete. So we'll go ahead and put this in the board, and then we'll move to the car and continue with programming. All right, so I'm in the vehicle. I have both keys with me. I have the ignition turned on. I am gonna go ahead and auto VIN it. That way it'll pull the year, make, model, VIN number, and give me the correct setup. Go ahead and select the VIN. It's going online. It's doing the decoding. Again, I'm still connected to my hotspot. We'll confirm information. We're working on the 16 Highlander. I like to go in and do a mobilizer status scan. I mean, I know this vehicle works, but worst case, it always gives me an idea of how many keys are in the system. So we know right now there's 3 keys in the system, and we're going to do add a key guided. We'll start. All right, tells us to turn on the hazard lights. All right. Each step must be completed in a certain time. So what it's going to do is it's going to have me take the registered key, press the button. It's going to give me some beeps. And then I'm going to take a generated universal key, touch the buttons, and it'll give us some beeps. And again, this has to be done in a certain amount of time. So I'm going to say, okay. All right, so we got 4 positions for key learning. All right, put a smart key to the start button. There we go, we got our beep. Put smart key to be learned, the start button. All right, there we go, we got 2 beeps. Let's register in the key. All right, told us key learning success. All right, so now we can back out of here. If you always want, you can, just do a rescan. And now we have 4 keys in the system. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the hazards, shut off the ignition. I'm gonna get out of the vehicle with both keys. I'm gonna take the original and leave it in the van and just test out the functions. And so this remote seems to not be responding, so I might have to go back and change that frequency, the frequency that we generated. All right, so I picked up the proximity. So proximity starts, the key is programmed to the car. We may have to go back and fix the frequency. which is weird. You would think the transponder would also work off the frequency, but yeah, we have no remote functions whatsoever. So I'm gonna go back and pick up the Lonsdor and go through it and get this right, get the frequency right, so we can verify that all our remote buttons are working properly. Alright, so looking at the original remote on my K2 Plus, I guess I should have did this prior. It looks like this is sending out a 312 to 313 megahertz frequency, where our new key is sending out a 315. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the frequency with the KH100 and see if we get some type of response. So I'm sorry for the screen glare, but what we're going to do is we're going to move. All right, so, and from what I believe, I thought this was a 5-5 cut, and the machine actually told me this would be a 5-bit in. And when I put in the information that the optical identifier gave me, it was incorrect. So I ended up pulling the door handle, got the key code and progression to key code in my key machine, and figured out it was actually a Toy 48 4-4 cut. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this blade, and then once that's done, we'll test it and we should be good to go. this is our completed cut. Because it's a one-sided cut, it only goes into lock one way. So it should go in like this. And then we can verify that we can both lock and unlock. And we pop this into a new key and this job is complete. So one last thing, I guess I should have checked this earlier, but remember when we was going through the button configurations and I chose 3 trunk, 4 panic? Well, I'm gonna have to go back and reconfigure this for 3 hatch and then 4 panic. So right now we got lock, unlock, they all work. The trunk button does not work. So I'm gonna go back and regenerate this one as 3 hatch, 4 panic, and then we should be good to go. And just a real quick rundown, back in that special functions tab, all we had to do was go to convert button type, select OK, let it read, and then in that menu scroll down to number 3 for hatch, for alarm, and generate it, and then we were done. I didn't have to reprogram the keys or anything. It just changes the frequency or the assignment in the key itself. And now the trunk function works as it should. I already went through and just double checked all, that's why it's very important before you leave a job, just to check make sure all the functions work. And we are good. So they got 2 fully functioning keys. All the buttons work as they should. The emergency blade is cut. The outside proximity does pick up, and the emergency blade works in the keyhole as it should. All right, this is the Lonsdor setup with the universal key, the handheld generator, and we did the programming with the Autel KM100. LakelandCarKeys.com.